Unfortunately, you won't be joining us on our family trip as we prefer to keep it just among family members. When it comes to souvenirs, my mother-in-law proudly declared over the phone that she might bring something back. I was meant to join my in-laws and husband on this trip, but I ended up being left behind. Since we got married, my mother-in-law, who adores her son, never misses a chance to make a snide comment or nag me. We remain indoors. This could pose an issue. My mother-in-law chuckled upon hearing my response. Does that pose an issue for you? Consider it a consequence for disregarding my guidance. The phone line was suddenly disconnected. Is there an issue? It's not me, it's you guys, correct? Hi there, I'm Linda, a 30-year-old housewife with a full-time job, juggling household chores while working part-time at the local supermarket. It has been 3 years since I tied the knot with my husband, Clark. Clark was a colleague at my previous workplace. Even though we worked in different departments, we were located on the same floor and frequently engaged in conversations even before we became a couple. Our bond grew stronger during a year-end office party where employees from different departments came together. I found myself seated next to Clark. Our conversation flowed naturally since we were already close. Clark stepped away to use the restroom for a moment, leaving me to eavesdrop on the animated conversation of the neighboring group. It was at that moment that an intoxicated supervisor from a different department began to pester me, continuously pushing me to consume more alcohol. Feeling uncertain about how to reply, since he was a manager I didn't interact with often, Clark made it back from the bathroom just in the nick of time. With a subtle gesture, he directed the boss to another table, calmly taking charge of the situation. Later on, Clark came back to our table by himself and inquired with me. He seems to struggle with alcohol, doesn't he? Is everything all right? That's when I started to perceive Clark differently, and I took the initiative to confess my feelings, which sparked our relationship. Our relationship advanced seamlessly, and from that point we tied the knot 3 years back. Although we haven't started a family yet, our marriage is strong and fulfilling. An issue that concerns me is my mother-in-law, with whom we currently reside. Clark and I currently reside in his parents' home. After we got married, we resided in an apartment. Unfortunately, a fire broke out in the adjacent unit, causing our apartment to be flooded by the firefighting water. We were forced to leave the apartment due to its unlivable conditions. Uncertain about our next move during the apartment repairs, Clark's mother came to the rescue. What about staying at our place? We accepted her offer and made the decision to reside with Clark's parents. We appreciated their offer when it was made. Issues arose once we settled in. Despite occasionally making snide remarks even before I had accepted them due to her strong affection for Clark. Yet, once we moved in together, her constant complaints became more intense. One weekend, while savoring a cup of coffee in the living room, after completing all the housework, something unexpected occurred. Upon her return, my mother-in-law swiftly began moving around the house. She approached me and remarked, "Linda, your cleaning is not up to par. It's important to dedicate more time and show appreciation for your husband's hard work as his wife. You should support him. I'm surprised you're unable to accomplish such a simple task. You are not meeting the expectations of a spouse. If you're feeling dissatisfied, it might be best to depart immediately." To be completely honest, I pondered. Here we go once more. I hear the same thing nearly every day. She allowed us to live together solely to be reunited with her son Clark. I'm likely just a bother to her as a wife. Dear Mom, could you please show some understanding towards Linda? Indeed, there is validity to your statement. Even while working part-time, it's important to stay on top of household chores. Most of the time, Clark leans towards his mother's point of view. Although it's understandable to appreciate his biological mother, I do hope he would also defend me at times. The woman he married, I make sure to keep up with house chores even though I work 4 days a week, even if it's just for a little while. I have always been diligent in managing the household chores for a family of 4. Even when I'm under the weather, this fact holds true. However, my mother-in-law, despite being a homemaker, is always out enjoying herself almost every day since we moved in together. I have yet to witness her engaging in any household tasks. Living under her roof makes it difficult to openly voice complaints in this uncomfortable environment. I simply remained patient. One day, a peculiar event occurred. Clark proposed a trip for us, only the 2 of us. How about visiting a spa resort next month? The peak season has concluded, and it's time for me to use up some of my annual leave. Considering a break, it might be nice to unwind in a relaxing spot. So a spa it is? That's fantastic. I have not scheduled any work shifts for next month, so I am available to take time off whenever needed. Following our discussion, we opted for a 2-day spa getaway scheduled for the middle of the upcoming month, specifically on a weekday. We can look forward to a peaceful and leisurely time ahead. I was bursting with excitement and couldn't contain myself. I diligently collected details about our destination whenever I had a spare moment, and right when I felt it was time to secure our accommodations, my mother-in-law began spouting something absolutely absurd. "Linda, I heard you're going on a trip with Clark. Why was I not informed?" Truth be told, I was worried she might threaten to leave if she discovered. However, I refrained from expressing that. While I was struggling to find the right words, my mother-in-law sighed in exasperation. She uttered the exact words I had been dreading. "My husband and I will be celebrating our anniversary next month. I'm excited about the idea of taking a family trip to celebrate. Staying at a luxurious hotel sounds appealing." Just like a child, my mother-in-law threw a tantrum about wanting to leave. A trip with my mother-in-law is not something I'm looking forward to. This time, Clark and I are considering going alone. How about we go together next time? I made an effort to be as flexible as I could in my reply. However, my mother-in-law refused to give in. This time is truly unique and cannot be replicated. We are commemorating our anniversary. If that's the situation, she should simply accompany her husband. Right when I was going to mention that Clark arrived home from work. "Welcome home, Clark. I was just chatting with Linda about the trip. Excited for it. My mother-in-law is already looking forward to the trip, sharing her desires, and Clark seems to be on board with her plans." I was curious about who revealed the details of the trip. Considering the circumstances, it's likely that Clark was the one who informed my mother-in-law. Clark appeared slightly uneasy when he caught me looking at him. My mom is eagerly anticipating it, so let's reschedule our trip for a later date. It would be a blast if we all went together. It appeared as though Clark had already made up his mind that everyone would be going on the trip based on his conversation. My father-in-law chimed in, "So a vacation, huh? This sounds like a fun time." It was impossible for me to decline going on this trip with the 4 of us. "Sure thing. In the future, it will only be the 2 of us. Can you guarantee?" Despite my hesitance, I gave my consent. Clark's expression was one of relief. I wasn't completely content with the situation, but, unfortunately, there was nothing I could do to change it at this moment. I took charge of selecting the sightseeing spots and local dishes for us to enjoy during our trip. I volunteered to handle all the hotel bookings and organize our sightseeing itinerary. My mother-in-law had no issues with my suggestions since she doesn't enjoy making preparations. And so, the day of the journey arrived. The day before, I carefully packed all my clothes in my suitcase. The idea was to wake up an hour before leaving, enjoy a relaxed breakfast, and then head out. Waking up to the sound of my alarm clock, I stretched out immediately. "Hey, Clark." It dawned on me that Clark, who should have been asleep beside me, was missing. Assuming he had probably already woken up and begun getting ready, I made my way to the living room, only to find Clark absent from there, as well as the bathroom, kitchen, and front door. Even my mother-in-law and father-in-law were nowhere to be found. Is it possible to feel a sinking sensation? I tried calling Clark on his cell phone, but the call didn't go through. Upon dialing my mother-in-law's number, she picked up right away. "Hey Linda, how are you doing?" Clark is currently unavailable to answer the phone as he is driving. "Are you going for a drive? Where in the world could the 3 of you possibly be at this moment?" When I inquired, my mother-in-law responded casually, "Isn't it clear? We're enjoying a family getaway. Unfortunately, we won't be able to have you join us on our family vacation this time. You'll need to stay at home. Perhaps we could even bring you back a souvenir if we remember." I heard my mother-in-law's victorious voice on the phone. "Remain indoors. This is going to pose an issue with my words." My mother-in-law let out a mocking laugh. "Should I be concerned? You. Consider it a consequence for disregarding my guidance." She ended the call abruptly. I shielded my face with both hands and shrugged my shoulders. What escaped my lips was not a cry, but a genuine chuckle. They should make the most of their trip. They will definitely regret not taking me along. Swiftly accessing a hotel booking platform, I secured a luxurious hotel in a popular tourist destination. Today was the day we were planning to meet. Later, I secured a booking at a restaurant for a delightful dinner. Sure, just for one individual. After swiftly getting ready and applying makeup, I had breakfast. Okay, let's get ready to have a blast. I picked up my bags and hopped onto the train. Having thoroughly researched different tourist spots, I was eager to embark on a vacation with a clear goal in mind. Embarking on a solo adventure. It's a quaint tourist destination, so there's a chance I'll bump into Clark and the in-laws, but it doesn't faze me. Ultimately, the blame falls on them. While pondering this, after a long journey, the train arrived at its final stop. From now on, I will focus on enjoying myself to the fullest without thinking about my mother-in-law and Clark. Keeping that in mind, I strolled into a charming boutique I came across, sipped tea in a stylish cafe, and chatted with the locals, truly relishing my trip. As the day transitioned into night, it was time to finally check in. The hotel I reserved stands out as one of the finest luxury accommodations in the region. I believed I had to take such extreme measures to rejuvenate myself. Walking through the automatic hotel doors, I made my way to the check-in counter. A woman's loud voice caught my attention. "What is preventing us from remaining here? We are prepared to compensate." Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be my mother-in-law who was causing the commotion. Naturally, they couldn't stay since this wasn't the hotel I had reserved for the four of us. Watching from a safe distance, Clark caught sight of me and exclaimed, "Hey Linda, how's it going? Unfortunately, we were unable to stay at the hotel you had reserved, leading us to search for alternative accommodations, and they are completely filled." My mother-in-law mirrored his aggressive approach towards me. Anger flushed her face a deep shade of red. As anticipated. Indeed, the keys will only be given to the individual who made the reservation in person. This is a security precaution. I did give you a heads up, didn't I? It was only now that they appeared to grasp the extent of their mistake, exchanging glances in complete shock, right before causing more chaos. Upon spotting my mother-in-law, a group of hotel staff quickly approached. Getting escorted out of the hotel was quite amusing. "Do you recall this? We are going to be staying in a much more luxurious place than this hotel." After feeling a bit relieved, I made my way to the hotel, leaving my temporary roommates, my mother-in-law and Clark, behind once I finished checking in. Escorted to my room, I was greeted by its pristine decor and opulent interior. I felt like I was in a dream. After setting down my luggage, I made the choice to wander around the hotel. Upon meandering through the hotel, I made my way back to the check-in area. Visitors continued to arrive. Seated on the lobby sofa, I zoned out until two young women took the seats beside me. Both were thrilled, sharing their thoughts on the hotel, and delved into a fascinating topic. "Excuse me, are you familiar with the hotel located near the station? There's a rather negative rumor circulating about it. It seems that there are reports of hallucinations being heard in the second-floor room and items going missing. Furthermore, there was a situation where an individual passed away, and the responsible party remains unidentified even now. We're fortunate to have the opportunity to stay here, don't you think? Could this be accurate? Why have no arrests been made yet? In a situation like that, you'd contact the authorities, right? Speculations are circulating that even the hotel staff may be involved. It's absolutely terrifying. This story is quite perilous. As I glanced at the clock, I realized it was nearly time for my dinner reservation. I quickly got up and hurried to the restaurant. I am extremely pleased. Following a delightful dinner, I made my way back to the hotel. After enjoying a relaxing bath and slipping into my cozy pajamas, I was engrossed in watching TV when my smartphone suddenly notified me of an incoming call. "Is anyone there? We discovered a hotel where we can lodge. This is incredibly comfortable. Unfortunately, you won't be able to remain here with us. We'll savor it even more on your behalf." "Don't worry. It came from my delightful mother-in-law." "What's going on? Really? Fortunate to have secured accommodations on such short notice." When I replied casually, my mother-in-law persisted, "Isn't it? The place is peaceful and perfect for relaxation since there are very few other visitors around. Near the popular attraction, this hotel boasts stunning surroundings. I'm curious about the reason behind that." It was at that moment that I had an epiphany. Is it possible that the hotel is located near the station? Sure thing. What do you think about it? Recalling the tale of the infamous bad reputation hotel that I overheard in the hotel lobby prior to heading to dinner, you should definitely consider moving quickly. I wasn't fully convinced about the rumor, but where there's smoke, there's fire. However, my mother-in-law dismissed my comment with a laugh, feeling envious of our accommodations. Well, then feel remorseful once more. My mother-in-law abruptly ended the phone call. I didn't have the inclination to return her call. I provided guidance and carried out my responsibility. I powered down my smartphone. I wanted to ensure my relaxation time remained undisturbed. Following that, I enjoyed a relaxing break and drifted into a peaceful slumber. The following day, upon leaving the hotel, I explored the local attractions. I missed the previous day and got back home as the sun was going down. Light spilled out from the windows of the house. It appeared that the trio had already made it back home. I have arrived at home. I made sure to announce my return in my typical manner as I opened the door to the living room. They all began causing a commotion simultaneously. Surprised, I was able to soothe the three individuals. My mother-in-law brought up the incident from last night. Once the three had drifted off to sleep, rustling sounds could be heard. My mother-in-law claimed to have heard the sound of someone entering the room, frozen in fear. She remained in bed while the intruder roamed the room for approximately 10 minutes before departing without making a sound, leaving her feeling relieved. After my mother-in-law fell asleep, she awoke the next morning to discover that all their belongings, including wallets and smartphones that should have been on the desk, were gone. Only the coin pouch and key holder remained in Clark's jacket's inside pocket. Feeling frantic, they quickly notified the hotel staff, who simply requested payment for the room without involving the police. The trio in distress utilized the coins. Clark needed to use a public phone to contact a nearby relative for assistance. Luckily, the family member arrived promptly, taking care of the hotel expenses and managing to bring them back home. After promising to report the incident to the police, their anger shifted in my direction. If you had emphasized the need to run more urgently, we could have avoided this predicament. Absolutely correct. Linda, you have some responsibility for this incident. What's your plan to address this? If my in-laws hadn't left me behind on their trip, this situation could have been avoided. When I spoke honestly, Clark became loud. Be quiet. You're simply the wife. Please refrain from being impertinent. We have decided to end our marriage. I can no longer tolerate your presence. I was utterly speechless. Quietly, I made my way to our bedroom, retrieved an item from the cabinet, and went back to the living room to share it with Clark. Considering divorce? Sounds good to me. I require a spouse who will stand up for his harassed partner. Clark's complexion became ashen. I presented the divorce papers. I had requested a lawyer to draft. I had been getting ready for the possibility of this day arriving. Maybe not anticipating my agreement. Clark appeared agitated. Nope. Perhaps it would be beneficial to give this more consideration. Then Clark's mother-in-law took advantage of the situation to encourage Clark to consider divorce. It might be time to consider parting ways with your current spouse. Your mother will introduce you to someone new, unable to resist her influence. After some time, Clark finally agreed to the divorce. Well, farewell. Enjoy life with your cherished family. Ignoring Clark, who was visibly upset, I left the house. Afterward, I had my lawyer handle the submission of the divorce papers, and the divorce was successfully finalized on multiple occasions following that. Clark pleaded for us to reconcile, but I chose to ignore his pleas. I will ensure Linda's safety from this point forward, he declared. Unfortunately, it was already too late. Meanwhile, the mother-in-law, who had successfully gotten rid of me, appeared to be in good spirits for a bit. However, it was short-lived. The news of their divorce and the end of their cohabitation quickly spread in the neighborhood, with gossip enthusiasts attributing it to her behavior towards me, which revealed her true character. She began receiving criticism from those around her, indicating that finding a new wife for Clark was no longer a top concern. Upon returning to my hometown, I was fortunate to secure a new job through a friend's referral. I'm taking a break from marriage at the moment. I believe I will relish my time being single for a while.